Are we witnessing the absolute masterpiece of modern baseball roster construction, or is this front office playing a dangerous high-stakes game of financial roulette that could define the franchise for the next decade? Welcome back, baseball fans. Grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's dive into a monumental shift in the landscape of the National League. Tuesday morning in Clearwater brought us the kind of seismic shockwave that completely alters the trajectory of a franchise. The Philadelphia Phillies held a massive 30-minute press conference to officially announce that they have locked down left-handed phenom Jesus Luzardo to a staggering 5-year, $135 million contract extension kicking in next season. This is not just a standard contract renewal. This is a massive statement of intent from an organization that refuses to take its foot off the gas pedal. Let's set the scene and look at the raw emotion surrounding this deal. Sitting right there on the podium next to a beaming Luzardo was Dave Dombrowski, the Phillies' president of baseball operations, looking like a man who just pulled off the heist of the century. And honestly, he might have. If Luzardo had hit the open market at the end of this season as originally scheduled, we are talking about an absolute bidding war. He would have easily been the second most coveted starting pitcher in the entire free agent class, sitting right behind the legendary Tarik Skubal. Half of the fan base is absolutely screaming with joy right now, celebrating the fact that the front office secured a cornerstone piece without having to fight off the Yankees or the Dodgers in November. The other half? Well, they are sweating profusely over the luxury tax implications and wondering how this massive cap hit will affect the team's ability to retain other core pieces down the line. But Dombrowski made it crystal clear. This was a unanimous decision. From the ownership level with John Middleton to the coaching staff led by Rob Thompson, everyone wanted Luzardo to stay. Dombrowski even called it a beautiful winter wedding gift for Luzardo and his family, highlighting the deep human element behind these massive corporate negotiations. He praised the relentless behind-the-scenes work of agent Brodie Van Wagenen, Phillies VP Ned Rice, and Director of Baseball Strategy Trey Bauer. They didn't just buy a left arm, they bought peace of mind. They avoided the chaotic circus of free agency and secured a premium asset. But what does this mean for the immediate future of the team? If Luzardo had walked, the psychological blow to the locker room would have been devastating. Instead, the chemistry remains intact, the morale is sky high, and the message to the rest of the league is terrifyingly clear. The Phillies are not here to participate, they are here to dominate, and they are willing to pay whatever it takes to keep their absolute best weapons in the arsenal. To truly understand the magnitude of this $135 million commitment, we have to take a step back and look at the historical context of Dave Dombrowski's team-building philosophy. We are currently living in an era of baseball where the starting pitcher is often treated like a fragile commodity. Teams are pulling guys after 5 innings, relying heavily on analytics, and building super bullpens to cover the final 12 outs of a game. Yet, here is Dombrowski, doubling down on the traditional, old-school mentality of the workhorse starting pitcher. When reporters pressed him on why he continues to allocate such an astronomical amount of resources to the starting rotation in this modern era, his answer was brilliantly simple. It works because they are good. This isn't a new experiment for Dombrowski. This is his signature blueprint. Look back at his tenure with the Detroit Tigers. He built an absolute juggernaut by stacking the rotation with Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, and Rick Porcello. When he moved to the Boston Red Sox and won a World Series, what did he do? He leaned heavily on Chris Sale and David Price. Dombrowski firmly believes that a dominant starting pitcher dictates the entire pace, rhythm, and psychological flow of a baseball game. When you have a guy on the mound who can completely neutralize an opposing lineup, you gain an immediate, tangible advantage before the first pitch is even thrown. Luzardo fits this historical mold perfectly. He brings a devastating arsenal from the left side, featuring a high 90s fastball that explodes through the zone and breaking pitches that make professional hitters look foolish. But it's not just about the spin rate or the velocity, it's about the makeup of the athlete. Dombrowski emphasized that a long-term deal of this magnitude requires a deep dive into the player's character. He shared a fantastic anecdote about speaking with Luzardo's father, noting that the incredible work ethic Jesus displays on the mound was instilled in him from a young age. When you hand a player $135 million, human nature sometimes dictates a drop in motivation. The hunger can fade when the bank account is full. But the Phillies front office is betting heavily on Luzardo's grit, determination, and relentless drive to be the absolute best. They aren't just paying for what he has done, they are paying for the relentless competitor they believe he will continue to be. This investment is a calculated risk, Rooted in the historical success of Dombrowski's past empires, blending elite physical talent with an unbreakable mental fortitude that is essential for surviving the brutal pressure cooker of a pennant race. Now let's break down the massive ripple effects this extension has on the roster construction, the salary cap, and the future projections of this franchise. By locking up Jesus Luzardo until the year 2031, the Phillies have essentially constructed a fortress around their starting rotation. Let's look at the timeline. Zack is under contract through the end of 2027. Aaron Nola and Christopher Sanchez are secured until 2030, assuming the club options are exercised. And let's not forget the looming shadow of Andrew Painter, one of the most electric young pitching prospects in the game, whose major league clock hasn't even truly started ticking yet. Add a veteran presence like Taijuan Walker to the mix, and you are looking at a rotation that features 3 guys who finished in the top 10 of Cy Young voting last year. This level of starting pitching depth is practically unheard of in today's game. But what happens if the injury bug bites? What if the heavy workload catches up to these arms? That is the inherent risk of tying up hundreds of millions of dollars in pitchers. If one of these pillars goes down, the financial constraints could prevent the team from making emergency acquisitions at the trade deadline. However, Dombrowski and his team clearly feel the reward far outweighs the risk. They looked at the upcoming free agent market, realized that Luzardo would have commanded a king's ransom, and decided to strike preemptively. "We didn't want to test it ourselves. We preferred to solve it now," Dombrowski stated. If Luzardo replicates his phenomenal performance from last year, his price tag would have only skyrocketed. The climax of Luzardo's evaluation, the moment that truly cemented his status as a big-game pitcher, came during Game 2 of the National League Division Series against the terrifying lineup of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Luzardo was an absolute machine, allowing just 2 runs over 6 innings and, at one point, retiring 17 consecutive batters. He completely silenced one of the most potent offenses in baseball history on the biggest stage imaginable. While Dombrowski noted that the decision to extend him was already in motion before that legendary playoff performance, he admitted that seeing Luzardo thrive under that immense pressure was the ultimate validation. "It takes experience for that," Dombrowski said. "When you see what he did last year in the postseason, it only increased our desire to keep him." That NLDS performance proved that Luzardo isn't just a regular season innings eater. He is a certified playoff weapon capable of carrying a team deep into October. So, where does this leave the Philadelphia Phillies as we look toward the future? In a league where parity is heavily enforced and windows of contention can slam shut in the blink of an eye, this front office has boldly kicked the door wide open and bolted it to the wall. The 5-year, $135 million extension for Jesus Luzardo is a masterclass in proactive roster management. It eliminates the anxiety of a looming free agency departure, solidifies a championship-caliber rotation for the next half-decade, and sends a powerful message to the clubhouse that ownership is fully committed to bringing a World Series title back to the city. This move guarantees that every time the Phillies take the field, they will have a legitimate ace on the mound, capable of shutting down any lineup in the league. The peace of mind that comes with knowing your rotation is anchored by Wheeler, Nola, Luzardo, and Sanchez is invaluable. It allows the coaching staff to manage the bullpen more effectively, keeps the team competitive in every single series, and builds a terrifying obstacle for any opponent facing them in a short playoff series. Yes, the financial commitment is massive, and the expectations are now astronomically high. There are no more excuses. The core is locked in, the talent is undeniable, and the only acceptable outcome for this group of players is a championship parade. Now I want to hear from all of you. Fans, get in the comments right now and tell me exactly how you feel about this massive $135 million deal. Did Dave Dombrowski just secure the piece that will win the World Series? Or are you worried about the long-term financial flexibility of the team? How does this rotation compare to the legendary pitching staffs of the past? Drop your thoughts, your wild predictions, and your deep analysis down below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the business and strategy of baseball, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We are going to be tracking this rotation all season long, and you won't want to miss a single pitch. Until next time, keep your eyes on the diamond.